Let's talk about Japan. How is it living here? When did I come here? Why am I here? What do I do here? How is working here? How are the people here? Today we're here to actually discuss these topics. And I want to start from me. And I want to introduce myself. Who am I? And where am I actually? I'm in Shinjuku, Gyoen, and I think I picked the coldest day of the entire year. I mean, we're January right now, but I picked the coldest day so far. And yeah, I'm in Shinjuku, Gyoen. It's the Shinjuku Park. In the background, you can see Docomo Tower. I couldn't go actually more iconic today because there's a lot of tourists hanging around there and I didn't want to bother anyone. So here we are. My name is Ari. I was born in Germany. I studied film in Germany and I came to Japan 5 years ago on a working holiday. Why did I choose Japan? I hear that so many times, especially like people here in Japan keep asking,
Why did you come to Japan?
like, what is appealing for you here in Japan? It could be literally anywhere, but why Japan? The thing is, and the simple answer is, okay, it's not anime, but the simple answer is, I always liked Asia, and everything that I liked from Asia came from Japan. Like I always had like the interest to go to Asia and travel in Asia. My first time abroad was Asia, etc. And then I went to Korea. I was eating mainly Japanese food in Korea. Sorry, Korea. I love Korean food though. And then I found out I can come to Japan on a working holiday. I tried to get my visa, convince my parents back in the days and be like, Mom, Dad, I want to go to Japan. It's like, Japan? Like, why do you want to go to Japan? Like, you speak English. Do you even speak Japanese? Long story short, I came to Japan, and this is where kind of like my new life started. Food, people, language, architecture, everything was different, and most importantly, everything was super, super, super exciting. Everything was new and everything was fresh, so you can learn and see new things in every corner you're looking at, actually. But that comes with a first challenge: a job. You have to find a job. And as most of you know, for most of foreigners who come to Japan, the first experience you can have in the working culture, right, is teaching English, which is what I did. But my teaching was not really like,
A, B, C, D, E.
I did not do that actually. It was more like a conversational base. I was facilitating conversations on a table and I was talking to people. For example, hey, how was your day? And then they reply like, oh, my day was great, thank you. And I was like, okay, what did you do today, right? So you teach people how to communicate and you practice speaking with them. That was my job, and I actually still do that now, which is kind of like almost my main job apart from like social media and all of that. But yeah, that was my entrance in Japan and my entrance into the working culture in Japan. Now, a few months in, I realized that I really like living here. I want to kind of like divide this entire video in like two parts, which part one is the honeymoon phase, and part two being the marriage with Japan, which is quite different. So, my first months in, at the beginning, I was actually pretty sure that I want to live in Japan because in this honeymoon phase, everything was perfect, everything was fun, right? But did I had a plan to survive? Of course not. I had no plan to survive. I had actually no full-time job. So what I did was, because I was in this honeymoon phase and I was thinking, I want to do anything and I can do anything just to stay in Japan. And I started to applying for so many jobs and so many different jobs that I knew that they sponsor a visa, but it was completely different from what I studied actually and what I actually wanted to do. Because my only focus was, I want to stay in Japan. And now that's a point that many people actually forget, because it doesn't matter how much effort you put into something and how much you want something. The two things that are most important are luck and timing. I don't want to sound like, oh my god, you can achieve whatever you want. It was not only like that. I was lucky. And that moment actually made my life completely different. It shaped it and it changed it completely. So now we come to the part, like the honeymoon phase was over. I got my visa, I entered living in Japan, and now, actually, after a year or so, life slowly actually started in Japan. Marriage. I would say I didn't really understand that I'm living in Japan almost 3 years into living in Japan. I still had like moments where I was just walking around and being like, I'm in Japan. It still sometimes hits me, but it's not as it used to be at the beginning. But the part that really changes is you slowly start to realize things about a place and also a culture that you actually at the beginning didn't mind as much, slowly started creeping up and it started bothering you. And now we come to like the essence of this video. How is living in Japan really like after 5 years, after you finish this honeymoon phase? So, what are some of these things actually that bothered me? A thing that I have to really get used to here in Japan is that people don't really state their opinions too openly. And they don't really, brag around how much they dislike the politics, for example. While at the beginning I thought like, oh my god, it's so cool. Like I don't have to, listen to everyone's ideologies and whatever it is. But the longer you live here, and as a European, sometimes I'm like, why didn't you say that you didn't like it at the first place then? Or like, why did you make a secret about that, And not talking about your opinion openly shaped a lot of things in my life, including dating. Like dating at the beginning, being here in Japan was horrible. Often like I was questioning like, is her personality like that? Or is she like that because she's Japanese? Like, is it her culture? Because you will also encounter many times that people are following rules without really questioning the rules. Like there are rules sometimes where I'm thinking like, what? For example, there was this thing where I had to like remove my green screen from a room full of paper boxes because there's a possibility for the green screen to catch fire. And I was like, what? The room is full of paper boxes. But because I'm in Japan, I have to like, hai, wakarimashita, sumimasen. Hai, kashikomarimashita, right? I have to accept it. And that's fine, sure, but there's something that like the more it piles up, the more it's actually starting to bother me. Another completely different aspect is actually holidays. Think about holidays, guys. In Europe, we have a lot of holidays. And every time I talk with my friends on the phone, it's like, oh, I went on like winter holidays. Oh, there's Easter right now. But yeah, Christmas, I don't work for 2 weeks. No way. And then summer, oh yeah, I went to, I don't know, Spain, And you hear this all the time. And then in Japan, it's like, yeah, we had New Year holidays for a week. And then most of the year, we actually work. Actually, every month has like one national holiday, almost every month of the year. But that's one day. And another thing, sometimes I miss the chaos. Like my family is from Greece. It's a pretty chaotic place, okay? It's not very quiet. So yeah, I miss the chaos a little bit. I'm bragging a lot about living in Japan, as you can see. But let's talk about the positive thing. And that kind of like answers the question on why am I here since 5 years? And why am I not planning to leave? As soon as you break the language barrier, life in Japan becomes easier and more fun in many ways. Like other doors open, other experience come out of it. You will go to Japanese inns and being able to actually talk with the staff in there and not being like the guy in the corner. As soon as you like break the language barrier, and that comes like slowly and very gradually, and then you see yourself developing. The other day I went to a restaurant that I've been there I think like 4 years ago here in Shinjuku, and I was able to read the menu, and I was like, oh my god, I remember the place. I've been here before, and I couldn't read shit. So yeah, do I have more fun? No, but I have better fun. I can enjoy Japan better. Another huge aspect, it's safety, guys. It's so safe here and so freaking peaceful. I mean, check this out. And I'm in the middle of Shinjuku. This park is like almost in the center of Tokyo. And it's so peaceful. Like you don't hear anything. And people behave well. People are nice to each other. There's literally someone over there laying and put like all his belongings right there. I think it went to the restroom somewhere and the stuff is still there. And that safety and that respect is, I think, the biggest reason why I'm staying here. People respect your space. You finish work, you go into the train, and no one bothers you, okay? You read a book, you listen to music, you watch YouTube, whatever. Like, no one bothers you. You're like in your own bubble and in your own safety bubble, okay? Like, there's nothing that can happen to you, and people respect you. And that's something that I love about people in Japan. If you are treating them nice, you will get double back. If you're treating them actually really bad, you will get double back of that as well. Like, they will not talk to you at all. The thing is that it doesn't matter where you live. It's like, if you make a choice to live in another country, remember that it is your choice. Okay, it's your thing. It's your choice, and no one keeps you here. Even though there's some things about Japan, if I that I don't like, right? I can just pack my bags and leave, and that's a huge privilege. Me being here is like, sure, there are a few things that I don't like, but I have to accept them if I want to stay here in this society. Because me, I'm not gonna change anything about Japan. I think like, to change Japan, like, good luck with that. It takes a long time. It's a very slow country in terms of change. It's a choice, and my choice is staying in Japan for many more years. I don't know for how long. Especially Tokyo, man. I love this city. What are your opinions on this? Have you ever lived abroad? Have you ever experienced living in Japan, or are you living in Japan? Like, what is your take on this? How do you feel about my story? There's many more videos and longer videos coming up that showcases a foreigner living here in Japan, actually, from different aspects, I guess. If you like the video, like it, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell button to get notified for the next one, and I see you guys on the next one. Peace out. Super cold.